Hi, I'm Roberta. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to whip up a really easy snack that's very popular in Liguria. It's called Farinata. It's also popular in Provence, where it's called socca, and in neighbouring Tuscany, where it's called torta di ceci or cecina, and it's chickpea flour. It's a simple batter of water, chickpea flour that we rest for a couple of hours, add a little olive oil, and then bake in the oven at a very high heat. Let's get our batter on because it does like to sit for a good 2 hours. You can even make it the day before and refrigerate it overnight. But if you're going to do that, you want to bring it back to room temperature before you cook with it. So water in our bowl, in with our flour, a little at a time so that we can whisk it. It doesn't tend to lump, but you want to make sure there aren't any lumps in there. You can even pass it through a sieve if you end up with a lumpy batter for some reason. But generally, the flour dissolves quite easily. Give it a good whisk. You'll get a bit of a froth on top probably. We'll get rid of that later before we fry it. There we go. It is quite liquid to start with. It's got about the viscosity of pouring cream, but it tends to thicken up a little bit once it sits. Let's pop a clean tea towel over that and set it aside in a warm place for a couple of hours, then we'll come back and have a look. Now our farinata has very few ingredients. Chickpea flour, water, salt and a little olive oil. But the other really key ingredient is high heat that's well conducted. So we're going to turn the oven up to 260. If yours doesn't go to 260, at least 250 or as high as you can get it. In Liguria, the farinata are cooked in huge copper trays that are lined with tin, very shallow, in very hot wood-fired ovens. So if you have a copper pan, now's the time to get it out. If not, just the heaviest base pan or metal tray, something that's going to conduct the heat really well. We've got a tablespoon of oil in here, and a bit like a Yorkshire pudding. I don't know if you've ever made Yorkshire pudding, but we're going to get this oil and this pan nice and hot in the oven before we add our batter. So I'm going to pop that in the oven for about 5 minutes to get very hot. We'll come back and have a look at our batter while that's happening. So while our pan and oil are heating up in the oven, here's our batter. There is a little foam on top, so we're just going to skim that off because we don't want a foamy pancake. Sometimes there's more than others, but let's just get rid of all of that. That should do. Now, a good pinch of salt and a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. And we'll just whisk that in and then get it into the oven to make our pancakes. So after about 5 minutes, our pan's good and hot, our oil's good and hot. Please do take care, that handle's going to be so hot. We'll give our batter another little whisk and we'll ladle in about half the batter, maybe a little bit less. We don't want it too thick. We just want to tilt it around to cover the base of the pan and then back into the oven. So here we have our beautiful farinata, torta di ceci. I can't stress it often enough. Be careful with the handle of the frying pan. It should be nice and crisp around the edges and nice and loose. Yes, it is. Let me put it down there. Get rid of this. Now, we're going to flip him over. Oh, look at that. That's exactly what we want to see. Now, we cut that into quarters. Or sixths or whatever you like, but I like nice big quarters. And we pop it on a plate. Sprinkle with a little salt. Grind a little pepper over it. Now, we're calling this a side dish this week, but it's not really a side. I just had to show you this recipe because it's so Ligurian. You can certainly have it as a side, but I love to serve it as a starter, as a snack, with some salumi anytime. There's no room on the plate for this one, so unfortunately, he's mine. Farinata, buon appetito.